Good morning, Retro. I'm Ryan.
I'm Nate, and I need to know, when did you get your first NES? All right, today we are going to be talking about how Ryan got his first NES.
Or as I like to call it, a Nintendo.
A Nintendo?
So a while
sounds
back...
like a dating website.
Yeah, we can start that.
Nintendo.
It's got a better ring than Farmers
Copyright,
Only.
we take it.
Nintendo. So we talked about gaming memories a little while ago where Nate shared some of his biggest pickups. But we're going to talk about a memory that's kind of like pretty special to me because a lot of people vividly remember getting their first Nintendo. Most of them did it early on as children.
Typically on Christmas.
Yes, or birthdays.
Yep.
I love the Nintendo. It's my favorite system to collect for, and I didn't own one until I was a senior in high school. And just not to date myself, but the Nintendo was dead at that point.
Dead.
Yeah, the PlayStation
So
2
dead.
was the talk of the town. The Dreamcast was around. PlayStation still dominated, but I came upon an opportunity, as you do in the collecting world. And I had a friend who, let's just say he was kind of a slacker, the stoner type maybe, grade below me, hadn't turned in his term paper for history class, right?
Okay.
This thing is end of the semester, he's months behind. The best he can do is get a D on this, but he needs to have it done so he doesn't fail the class.
I have a feeling
Yes.
I know where this is going.
And the kid also lives in a wealthy part of town. His parents bought him everything, and he was sitting on a pile of old video games. He knew I loved him, and we struck up a deal. I said, sure, I'll do your term paper.
Oh my gosh.
What's the subject on? He's a skateboard kid like I was, so he says Tony Hawk. Fantastic, right up my alley. So he hands me the Tony Hawk book, the autobiography which had just been published, a couple issues of Thrasher, and I say, I'll do it for your Nintendo.
That's sickening.
It's awesome.
I really hope this guy's a doctor now.
He's a plumber. I ran into him about a year ago.
So you just had to get a D.
I basically just had to turn in a paper.
Just turn in a paper.
Yeah. And I loved the guy. He was a nice guy, but I knew his schoolwork was probably middling at best, so I didn't need to sound overly intelligent in this thing. And for reference, not that I'm a genius, but I was like honor roll student. Like, this was going to be no sweat for me, right? So yeah, basically in one weekend, because that was the deadline he had, I read through that book.
Did you read the whole book?
I did. It was a really good book. I was genuinely interested in it.
Okay.
So I did that for a Friday night, wrote the paper the next day, handed him, I don't know how many pages it had to be, maybe like 10. Then you had to cite like so many publications, which again, Skateboarding Magazine's easy to do.
Yep.
He went along his merry way, and then the next day I am handed a plastic milk crate full of Nintendo goodness, the system, power pad,
Games?
guns, games.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of games.
Would you do it again?
In a heartbeat. I might do it now. Maybe I should start making the ring around high school.
Like just, maybe you shouldn't. So that's probably something you shouldn't be saying. Oh man, I have never heard anybody trade video games for homework.
Yeah. Most
That's
people go for money
amazing.
or booze or something. I don't know. But I was like, no, I need that Nintendo.
Give me them
I
carts.
need that Nintendo.
I honestly have never heard that. That's-
Would you have done it though?
Oh heck yeah, I would.
See?
Shoot, I moved a house for a lunchbox. I would write a term paper for some video games.
Yeah, it was a good deal.
All right, so when we come back, which that's a crazy story, but when we come back, I think you need to share what kind of games were in that milk carton, because I just picture little Samson stadium
5 copies
events.
of Top Gun.
Yeah.
Silent Service.
Yeah. So when we come back, let's get into the games.
Tiger puts arcade action in the palm of your hand. Games like Mega Man 2. Fight your way through 8 stages of play as you attempt to defeat the villainous Dr. Wily, his evil dragon, and his 6 deadly robots to win. Also available, Afterburner, Shinobi, Altered Beast, and Super Sprint. Tiger LCD video games. Video excitement in the palm of your hand.
Rice Krispies.
What's it saying?
For you to go upstairs and make my bed.
Mine says Margie Gaynor's after me.
My Rice Krispies say, pop, pop, crackle, snap, pop, pop.
I didn't know we could sing.
And now a word from Kellogg's Rice Krispies, the fun part of your complete breakfast.
I can hear them speaking to me.
Who ever heard of a talking cereal?
The shot joker gelatin.
What do your Rice Krispies say to you?
Don't talk with your mouth full.
Warning, such behavior is irresponsible, immature, and very foolish. We recommend you try it at home. Paperboy from Mindscape for your NES and Game Boy 2 at Toys R Us.
All right, we are back. As Nate alluded, we're going to talk about the games I got in there. And as I mentioned, this kid came from a wealthy area of town. Like, the games weren't chintzy. He wasn't a bargain bin shopper.
Name a chintzy game right now.
Silent Service, Top Gun.
Okay. Just making sure that we were on the same level of chintziness.
Anything by Jellicoe. So everything he got, everything he would ask for, he'd get. That's just the type of kid this kid was. And I got all the classics. Obviously, I got Mario 1, 2, 3. Like I said, I got the Power Pad.
So you didn't have a Nintendo before this.
No, I loved them, but I was the
everyone
kid,
else had them, and you were playing their stuff.
I was the annoying kid who would like beg his friends for sleepovers, and then all I would do was sit in front of their TV. I'd go to birthday parties. Kids would be upstairs unwrapping gifts. I'd be in the basement playing Nintendo. That's not a lie. That happened.
Because your first system was an Atari 2600, right?
Yep, and then I got a Game Boy from there, and then Super Nintendo. So I completely skipped it.
And then kind of going backwards.
Yes.
All right. So you got your Mario 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Well, that's all you need. Typically.
Pretty much. Metroid was in there.
Okay.
Mega Man 2, Mega Man 4.
4?
Yep.
That one's an oddball to be
it was sort of a
collection.
Right. And then from there, I know that I got some cool stuff that I wasn't aware of, but wasn't super common, like Codename Viper. Like I love Codename Viper. Such an overlooked game. I think I did get the Rocketeer, which I know we've talked about as one of your favorite.
Yep.
And then from there, it gets kind of blurry, but it was really kind of an epic haul, and there was enough in there that kept me occupied for years. Yeah. And that really was, I collected games at that point already, but that was the start of me really building and continuing a retro collection.
Yeah.
And
so that started your NES collection
Yeah.
in that moment, and then you just started...
Yep. And for the most part, I mean, I picked up games here or there because you could find them at garage sales dirt cheap, but I wasn't actively looking.
Right.
So that core box really was my collection up until, I would say, maybe 10 years later, when then like something switched, right? And I was just, 10 years is probably not right. Maybe 5 to 6 years.
1996 then, right?
Yeah. Maybe 5 to 6 years later,
Yeah.
I picked up a few games, but then that base set became like, okay, I'm going to grow this.
Yep.
And that's where I hooked it back up in my basement. My wife and I just had our first kid, so I had plenty, because she wanted nothing to do with me at the time. Get out of here, watch the baby. So I needed a little me time,
Right.
and that's where this crate came back out. I literally set it up next to the washer and dryer in the back corner of our basement, and then that collection just started growing.
And it's out of control now.
It's insane.
It's absolutely out of control.
Yeah.
So that's pretty epic. I love hearing that. You kind of mentioned it a little bit just in passing with me. You're like, oh yeah, I got my NES game doing homework. And I was like, what? We got to talk about that. So what's some of the craziest things you've ever done for video games? I think in our last video, we didn't really have anybody mention about like some crazy situations getting some video games. But what's kind of the weirdest stuff that you've done for video games? We've all done it. You're guilty of it. Let us know down in the comments below. Make sure you're following us on our social medias as well.
Let's make it interesting. Whoever's got the best plausible story for how you traded or weaseled your way into some games, we're going to send you a little surprise package. We'll pick a winner from the comments. So leave a comment. We'll give everybody a shot at winning.
Yeah.
We'll do like a little raffle.
I love it. I love it. There you go. Follow us social media. Put that comment down below. We'll get a box out at some point when we pick
Not
a
a
winner.
milk crate.
Not a milk crate. Just a small, tiny box. Or a big box.
Sure.
All right. Sounds good. Well, there you have it, guys. We'll catch you later. See ya.